The Boston King kissed his shy assistant in front of the woman he was supposed to marry, and in that single breath, Lily Parker stopped being invisible. She had walked into Callahan Tower looking for a paycheck, the kind that could keep her mother's bills paid and her small apartment warm through another Boston winter. She expected polished floors, cold interviews, maybe a boss who barely looked at her. What she didn't expect was Cole Callahan, the city's most dangerous heir, pulling her into a lie that felt like a loaded gun. This is not just a story about power. It's about choice survival, and the dangerous moment when pretending becomes real. Stay until the end because one kiss will start a war. Like the video and comment where you're watching from. The kiss was over, but Lily could still feel it burning against her mouth like a secret she had never agreed to keep. Cole Callahan stood 3 feet away from her, calm as winter glass, while the papers from her fallen resume folder lay scattered across the black marble floor. Outside his office windows, Boston moved on like nothing had happened. Traffic crawled along the streets below. The harbor flashed silver beneath a pale afternoon sun. Somewhere far beneath them, ordinary people were buying coffee, checking phones, complaining about rent-living lives that did not involve being kissed by a criminal prince in a tower above the city. Lily bent down and gathered her papers with hands that refused to stay steady. Cole moved to help. She looked up at him. "Don't," he stopped. For a moment she saw something shift in his eyes. Not guilt exactly. Men like Cole Callahan probably stored guilt somewhere deep, locked behind steel doors and guarded by lawyers. But there was recognition there. He understood he had crossed a line. Good. She wanted him to understand that. She shoved the last page into the folder and stood. "I came here for an interview," she said. "Not a public assault, not some twisted family performance, not whatever that was." Cole slid one hand into his pocket. He did not look offended. That almost made it worse. It was a mistake. Lily laughed once, sharp and humorless. A mistake is spilling coffee. A mistake is calling someone by the wrong name. You dragged me into your arms and told your father I was your girlfriend. Yes, that's all you have to say. No, he said. But it's the first true thing. She stared at him, breathing hard. The office was too quiet now. The air still carried the expensive scent of leather cologne and danger, the kind of danger that did not announce itself with shouting. It sat in the corner, poured itself a drink, and waited for people to make bad decisions. Cole picked up one loose page near his shoe and held it out to her. Lily snatched it from his hand. "You're insane." "Possibly. You're also arrogant. Definitely. And if you think I'm going to stand here while you act like any of this is normal, then you've lost your mind." Cole's mouth almost curved, but he seemed wise enough not to smile. "Nothing about my family is normal. That is not my problem. It became your problem the second my father saw your face." The words landed cold. Lily tightened her grip on the folder. "No," she said. "Don't do that. Don't make this sound like fate. You chose me." "I did." Why Cole looked at her, then really looked at her with a stillness that made her feel as if he had pulled every curtain inside the room closed. "Because you were there." The answer was so honest that it felt insulting. Lily swallowed. "So I was convenient." At first, her eyes narrowed. At first, Cole turned away and walked toward the windows. The city stretched behind him, all steel glass, old brick, and restless water. From where Lily stood, he looked like he belonged to that skyline built into it, as cold and untouchable as the tower itself. "My father has been trying to arrange my marriage to Brooke Whitmore for 2 years," he said. "Her family controls shipping access from Boston to Savannah. They have politicians in their pockets, judges at their tables, and enough money to make a scandal disappear before breakfast." Lily said nothing. The marriage would give my father what he wants. A tighter grip on the company. More old money. More old habits. And you don't want to marry her, no. That's your problem. Cole glanced back at her. It was, until I told him you were mine. Her stomach tightened. I am not yours. No, he said quietly. You're not. The softness in his voice bothered her more than the arrogance had. Lily looked toward the office doors, half expecting Warren Callahan to come storming back in with Brooke Whitmore and a lawyer. Instead, there was only silence and the distant hum of the building. I'm leaving, you can. That stopped her. Cole turned fully now. But you need to understand what leaving means. There it is, Lily said, the threat, the warning. Dress it up however you want. His expression did not change, but something in the room grew heavier. My father will dig into you. Brooke will dig deeper. By tonight, they'll know where you live, where your mother works, what you owe, who you dated in college, and whether you ever bounced a check. Lily's throat went dry. You don't know anything about me. I know you went to UMass Boston on scholarship. I know you worked at a diner in Quincy during your junior year. I know your mother is Mary Ann Parker, and she works in hospital administration at St. Anne's. I know you applied for 6 executive assistant jobs this month, and this is the only one that called you back. The room tilted. Lily hated that her first instinct was fear, hated that he saw it before she could hide it. You ran a background check on me, standard procedure for anyone entering my office. Your office, I was here for an interview. Exactly. Her anger rose again because it was easier than fear. You people are unbelievable. My people are worse than unbelievable. At least we agree on something. Cole stepped away from the window. Miss Parker, I'm not trying to scare you. You're doing a beautiful job anyway. I'm trying to tell you the truth before someone else weaponizes it. She wanted to leave. Every sensible part of her told her to walk out, take the elevator down, never answer another call from Callahan Holdings, and forget the way Cole's hand had felt at her waist. But another part of her, the part trained by overdue bills and hospital waiting rooms, understood the shape of a trap. If Warren Callahan already knew her name, leaving might not make her safer. It might just make her alone. Cole seemed to read the thought before she said it. I can protect you. Lily shook her head. No, you don't get to be the storm in the umbrella. That did make him pause. The office doors opened before he could answer. A woman in a charcoal suit stepped in carrying a tablet. She had dark hair, cut at her jaw, clear eyes, and the exhausted composure of someone who had cleaned up rich men's disasters for years. She stopped when she saw Lily's face. Then she looked at Cole. What did you do? Nora Cole said. This is Lily Parker. The woman's gaze dropped to Lily's folder, then to Cole, then back again. I gathered. Lily almost laughed. Nora Blake sounded unimpressed, which made her the first sane person Lily had met in the building. Cole said, We need a contract. Nora closed her eyes for 1 second. Of course we do. I have not agreed to anything Lily said. Nora looked at her with something like sympathy. Good. Keep that energy. You'll need it. Cole moved to his desk and pressed a button on the phone. No interruptions. A voice answered, then the line went dead. Lily stayed near the door. Cole looked at Nora. 3 months. Public relationship. Limited appearances. Strict confidentiality. Full compensation. Security included. Absolutely not, Lily said. Cole looked at her. You haven't heard the compensation. I heard enough. Nora tapped something into her tablet. Miss Parker, I'm going to speak plainly. You should not sign anything until your own attorney reviews it. You should not trust him just because he looks calm. And you should assume everyone in this family wants something. Lily blinked. Cole sighed. Nora, she deserves the truth. I'm giving her the truth. No, Nora said. You're giving her the Callahan version, which means the truth wearing a tailored suit. For the first time since the kiss, Lily felt the ground beneath her feet steady by 1 inch. Nora turned back to her. The situation is bad. Not impossible. Bad. Mr. Callahan made a reckless choice. Now his father believes you are leverage. Brooke Whitmore believes you are an insult. If you walk out with no agreement, they may still come after you to prove he lied. Lily's fingers went cold. And if I sign, then at least we define the battlefield. Cole's gaze sharpened at the word. Lily looked between them. What exactly are you asking me to do? Cole answered. Pretend to be with me for 3 months. Attend dinners, charity events, certain business functions. Be seen with me often enough that my father cannot dismiss you as a moment of rebellion. And after 3 months we end it publicly, quietly. You leave with enough money to change your life. My life was fine before you touched it. No, he said, not unkindly. It was survivable. The words hit too close. Lily thought of her apartment in Dorchester, the radiator that screamed at night, the stack of envelopes she kept in a kitchen drawer because leaving them visible made her chest hurt. She thought of her mother pretending not to be tired after double shifts. She thought of the teaching program she had never applied to because dreams were expensive and rent did not care about noble intentions. Her voice came out lower. How much money? Cole named a number. For a moment, Lily heard nothing but her own heartbeat. It was not just good money. It was impossible money. It was pay off debt money, move her mother somewhere safer money, start over money, breathe without counting every dollar money. She hated him for knowing exactly where to press. Nora watched her carefully. Ask for more, Nora said. Cole looked at her. Lily did too. Nora shrugged. He created the problem. Lily lifted her chin. Double it. Cole's eyes flickered. Done. That quick agreement told her she should have asked for triple. And I want my own attorney. Done. My mother gets protection but discreet. She doesn't need men in black suits scaring her at work. Done. No touching unless I agree. Cole's expression changed just slightly. Done. No surprise kisses. Done. No decisions about my life without me in the room. He held her gaze. That one took longer. Done. And if I say I'm out, I'm out. No threats, no guilt, no locking me in some expensive cage and calling it safety. Cole's jaw tightened. Nora's typing slowed. Finally, Cole said, Done. Lily exhaled through her nose. And you apologize. The room went still. Cole did not ask for what. He knew. He stepped closer, but not too close. I'm sorry, he said, for touching you without permission, for using you to make a point, for putting you in danger before you even knew my name. Lily searched his face for performance. She found control, pride, and something darker beneath both. But the apology was real, not enough. Still real. She nodded once. Good. Now put it in writing, too. Nora almost smiled. I like her. Cole looked at Lily as if that was beginning to become a problem. The contract took 2 hours. Nora drafted it in language sharp enough to cut skin. Cole reviewed every line. Lily sat in a leather chair that cost more than her monthly rent and refused the coffee offered to her 3 times because her hands were already trembling enough. When her phone buzzed, she looked down and saw a message from her mother. How did the interview go? Baby. Lily stared at the words until they blurred. How did she explain this? She typed, still here. Complicated. I'll call later. Her mother replied with a heart and a warning to eat dinner. The normalcy of it nearly broke her. Cole noticed. He noticed too much. Your mother, he asked. Lily locked her phone. None of your business. You made her part of the terms. I made her protected, not available. He accepted that without argument. Outside the office, evening settled over Boston. The windows turned dark and reflective, throwing Lily's own face back at her. She looked pale, younger than she wanted. Not shy exactly, despite the way people often mistook her quietness for weakness. Just tired. Careful. A woman who had learned early that raising her voice did not always make people listen. Cole signed the final draft first. His signature was bold, clean, practiced. Nora slid the tablet to Lily. "You don't have to sign today," she said. Cole looked at Nora, then at Lily. "No," he said. "She doesn't." That surprised Lily again. She wished he would stop doing that. She stood. "I'm taking it home." "Of course," Nora said. Cole picked up his suit jacket from the back of his chair. "I'll have a car take you. I can take the train." "No." The word was immediate. Lily's eyes narrowed. Cole caught himself. "Please," he added, like the word had sharp edges in his mouth. "My father's men may already be watching the building." Nora nodded. He's right. Lily hated that. She hated how quickly her world had narrowed from job interviews and unpaid bills to men watching buildings. "Fine," she said, "a car. But I sit alone." Cole's mouth twitched. "As you wish." The driver took her through Boston as night settled over the city. Rain began to tap against the windows, soft and steady. The financial district disappeared behind them, replaced by brick buildings, corner stores, laundromats, bars with neon signs, and sidewalks shining under streetlights. Dorchester looked different when she returned. Not poorer, not smaller, more vulnerable. The car stopped outside her apartment building. Lily thanked the driver and stepped out holding the contract folder against her chest beneath her coat. Then she saw it. A black envelope tucked under the front door. No stamp, no name, just there. Her stomach dropped. She looked up and down the street. A woman walked a dog under an umbrella. A bus hissed at the corner. 2 teenagers laughed near a convenience store. Nothing seemed wrong, which somehow made it worse. Lily picked up the envelope and went inside. Her apartment smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and old heat. The radiator clanged. The kitchen light flickered once before holding steady. Everything was exactly as she had left it that morning, and yet she felt like a stranger had entered before her. She opened the envelope with a butter knife. Inside was a single photograph. Her mother leaving St. Anne's Hospital. On the back, written in black ink, were 6 words: "Choose carefully, Miss Parker." Lily sat down hard at the kitchen table. For a long time, she did not move. Fear wanted her quiet. It wanted her small. It wanted her to call Cole and ask him what to do. Instead, she called her mother. Mary Ann answered on the 3rd ring, breathless. "Hey, baby. Everything okay?" Lily closed her eyes. "Yeah," she lied. "Just wanted to hear your voice." Her mother softened immediately. "That kind of day." "The strangest. Did you get the job?" Lily looked at the contract folder on the table. "I think so. You don't sound happy." "I don't know what I am." There was a pause. In the background, Lily heard the low murmur of a television and the clink of a mug. Then, "Don't make any big choices while you're scared," Mary Ann said. Lily almost laughed because it was good advice arriving several hours too late. After the call, she made tea and did not drink it. She read the contract once, twice, 3 times. The language was clean. The money was real. The exit terms were clear. So were the risks, although no contract could fully describe what it meant to become a target for people who smiled in family portraits and ruined lives over dinner. Near midnight, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it. Then the screen lit with a message. "You were warned." A second message followed. "The Callahans keep what they claim." Lily's pulse kicked hard. Then a third. "Unless someone takes it first." She did not sleep. By morning, Boston was gray and wet, the kind of cold rain that made the whole city look tired. Lily dressed in her best navy blouse, tied her hair back, and took the contract folder under one arm. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Her face was pale. Her eyes were clear. Not scared, she whispered. It was not true, but it was close enough to carry. The car was waiting downstairs before she called for one. That annoyed her until she saw Nora Blake standing beside it with 2 coffees. "I thought you might need caffeine," Nora said. Lily took one. "Does everyone in that building stalk people as a hobby?" "Only the important ones." "I'm not important." Nora looked at the black envelope in Lily's hand, the one Lily had brought as proof. "You are now." At Callahan Tower, the lobby seemed quieter than yesterday. Or maybe Lily was hearing it differently. The receptionist looked at her with curiosity. Security watched with too much awareness. Men in expensive coats paused half a second too long. News traveled fast in places where silence was a language. Cole was in his office when she arrived. Sleeves rolled to his forearms, a phone pressed to his ear, his expression carved from stone. He saw Lily and ended the call without saying goodbye. "You came back." Lily placed the black envelope on his desk. "Your father works fast." Cole opened it. The photograph changed his face. Not much, just enough. The air in the room chilled. "Who delivered this I didn't see." "Nora." "Already checking cameras," Nora said from the doorway. Cole looked at Lily. "I'll handle it." "No," Lily said. The word cut clean through the office. Cole went still. She placed the signed contract beside the envelope. "We'll handle it. That was one of my terms." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Cole picked up the contract and looked at her signature. Lily Parker, a simple name on a dangerous page. "I need you to understand something," he said. "Once this starts, people will test you. My father, Brooke, my relatives, reporters, men who think loyalty can be bought, and women who learned cruelty because someone taught them it was power." "I understand." "No, you don't." Lily stepped closer. "Then explain it without trying to scare me into obedience." His eyes locked on hers. "My family does not believe in half measures. If they think you're weak, they'll press until you break. If they think you're lying, they'll expose you. If they think I care about you, they'll use you." "And do you?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. Cole's gaze sharpened. "Care about me," Lily said, hating the heat rising in her face. "For the performance, I mean." His answer came too slowly. "I care that you survived this." It was not romantic. It should not have affected her. But it did. Nora cleared her throat, rescuing them both. "We need to prepare her before Sunday." "Sunday?" Lily asked. Cole's expression darkened. "My grandmother has requested dinner." Requested, Nora made a small sound that might have been a laugh. Evelyn Callahan doesn't request. She summons. Lily looked at Cole. "Your grandmother is worse than your father." Cole picked up the invitation from his desk and handed it to her. Heavy cream paper, black ink, no warmth. Sunday dinner, Beacon Hill, bring the girl. Lily read it twice. The girl. Cole's jaw tightened. That's Evelyn being polite. Lily looked from the invitation to Cole, then to the city beyond the glass. The rain had stopped. Boston glittered under a weak strip of sunlight bright enough to make every wet street shine, not bright enough to warm anything. She folded the invitation carefully and set it on his desk. Then, I guess the girl should learn how to survive dinner. By Sunday evening, Lily had learned 3 things about the Callahan family. First, nobody entered their world by accident. Second, every smile had a blade tucked behind it. And third, Cole Callahan looked most dangerous when he was trying to be gentle. He arrived at her apartment at 5 o'clock sharp, not in the back seat of a car like some untouchable king, but standing outside her building in a charcoal suit with rain darkening the shoulders of his coat. Boston had been gray all day, the sky hanging low over the streets, the air smelling like wet pavement and cold brick. Lily opened the front door before he could knock a second time. Cole looked at her, and for once his face gave something away. The black dress was simple. Long sleeves, clean neckline, no glitter, no borrowed glamour. She had bought it 2 years ago for a job fair, and had worn it only once because it made her feel like she was pretending to be someone who had answers. Tonight, pretending was part of the job. "You look steady," Cole said. Lily blinked. "That's not a compliment." "In my family, it is." She grabbed her coat from the hook by the door. "Do I look like I belong?" Cole's eyes moved over her face. Not the dress this time, no. The answer hit harder than she expected. Then he added, "That may be the only thing that saves you." Lily locked the door behind her and followed him to the waiting car. The driver nodded without speaking. Cole opened the back door for her. She hesitated because some stubborn part of her wanted to reject the gesture just to prove she could. Cole noticed. "It's a door, Lily, not a proposal." "Good," she said, sliding in. "I'd hate to reject you twice in 1 week." A shadow of amusement touched his mouth as he got in beside her. The car pulled away from the curb, gliding through Dorchester, then north toward Beacon Hill. Lily watched the city change outside her window. Storefronts with neon signs gave way to brownstones with iron railings. Narrow streets curved under old trees. Gas lamps glowed against the damp evening, soft and golden, as if the neighborhood had learned how to make wealth look like history. Cole sat beside her in silence, one hand resting on his knee, the other loosely holding his phone. He had spent the past 3 days teaching her names, faces, grudges, and rules. Do not interrupt Evelyn unless she asks you a direct question. Do not accept Brooke's sweetness as kindness. Do not let Warren make you explain your worth. Do not drink too much wine. Do not look at the exits too often. That last one had annoyed her. Now, as the car climbed a quiet street lined with homes that looked older than most governments, she understood why he had said it. The Callahan mansion sat behind black iron gates, its brick face washed in amber light. Ivy climbed one side of the house. The windows were tall and bright, but not welcoming. They looked like eyes. Lily's stomach tightened. Cole turned toward her. "Breathe. I am breathing. You're holding it." She exhaled slowly, irritated that he was right. The gate opened. The car rolled up the drive. At the front door, an older man in a black suit waited beneath a stone archway. He opened Lily's door before the driver could move. "Good evening, Mr. Callahan, Arthur." The man's gaze touched Lily for half a second. Not rude, not warm, measuring. Cole placed his hand near the small of her back, close enough for the performance, not close enough to touch without permission. Lily noticed, so did he. "Can I?" he asked softly. She looked up at him. The question was simple. The memory behind it was not. She nodded. His hand settled against her back, firm and warm through the fabric of her coat. The touch steadied her, which annoyed her almost as much as needing it. Inside, the mansion smelled of beeswax, old wood, roasted meat, and expensive flowers. The foyer stretched upward into shadows with a crystal chandelier hanging above them like frozen rain. Portraits lined the walls. Men with hard eyes, women with pearls and secrets. Children painted like heirs before they were old enough to know they had been trapped. Lily handed her coat to Arthur and followed Cole down a hall with polished floors. Every step of her heels sounded too loud. Voices drifted from the dining room. Cole paused before the doorway. "Last chance," he said. "To run, to tell me you want out." Lily looked at the hand he still held near her back, then at the room beyond. "I signed the contract. This is bigger than paper." She swallowed. "I know." His eyes searched hers. For a moment, she thought he might say something else, something honest enough to make both of them uncomfortable. Then a woman's voice cut through the hall. "Are you going to keep the girl outside all night, Cole?" Lily lifted her chin. Cole's hand pressed lightly against her back. They entered. The dining room was long, formal, and bright with candlelight. A table, large enough for 20, stretched beneath another chandelier. Silverware gleamed. Crystal glasses caught the light. Fresh white roses sat in low arrangements down the center, beautiful and cold. At the head of the table sat Evelyn Callahan. She was smaller than Lily expected, but the room bent around her. Silver hair swept back. Black dress. Pearl earrings. Eyes like polished stone. She did not rise. She did not smile. Warren stood near the fireplace with a glass of whiskey. Brooke Whitmore stood beside him in a pale blue dress that looked soft enough to be innocent. It did not fool Lily for a second. Others filled the room. Diane Callahan Cole's aunt, with kind eyes and a careful mouth. Travis Callahan, the cousin with too much confidence in his grin. 2 older uncles. A woman Lily remembered from Cole's briefing as Warren's cousin Margaret. Several people whose names blurred together under the weight of their attention. Cole's voice was calm. "Everyone, this is Lily Parker." The silence that followed was not empty. It was hungry. Evelyn lifted her wine glass but did not drink. So she said, "This is the girl who made my grandson reckless." Lily walked forward before Cole could guide her. She stopped beside the chair nearest Evelyn and offered her hand. "Lily Parker, ma'am." Evelyn looked at the hand for 1 full second before taking it. Her grip was cool and strong. "Soft hands," Evelyn said. Lily met her eyes. Not for lack of work. Something passed through the room. A slight shift. A breath held by several people at once. Diane's mouth curved almost invisibly. Brooke's did not. Evelyn released Lily's hand. "Sit," everyone sat. Cole pulled out Lily's chair. She let him because now was not the time to fight furniture. Warren sat across from her, his gaze fixed on her like a judge with a sentence already written. The first course arrived carried by silent staff in black uniforms. Soup in shallow white bowls. Steam curling up into the candlelight. Lily picked up the correct spoon only because Nora had drilled her over lunch the day before with plastic utensils and the patience of a woman preparing a soldier for war. For 5 minutes no one attacked. That made it worse. Then Warren set down his glass. "Dorchester, was it?" Lily looked up. "Yes. Born there, raised there. And before that, my mother lived in South Boston when I was born. We moved when I was 4. Your father," Cole's hand tensed beneath the table. He had not taken hers, but his knee was close enough to feel the change in him. Lily kept her eyes on Warren. Gone long enough that he doesn't deserve a seat at this table. A fork paused against porcelain. Diane looked down at her soup to hide her expression. Warren's mouth thinned. How unfortunate. Sometimes it was, Lily said. Sometimes it was useful. You learn early who stays when things get hard. Cole turned his head slightly toward her. Not obvious. Enough. Brooke leaned forward, voice sweet. "And your mother works at a hospital, doesn't she?" Lily felt the question slide under her skin. "She works in administration. That must have been difficult, growing up around all that struggle." Lily smiled politely. "It taught me not to confuse comfort with safety." Brooke's eyes cooled. Evelyn finally took a sip of wine. Warren continued, "UMass Boston, yes, not Harvard, not Boston College, not even Northeastern." Lily set her spoon down carefully because the temptation to throw it was not useful. "UMass gave me a scholarship. I had enough sense to take it. Practical. When you don't have family money, practical keeps the lights on. Travis chuckled from farther down the table. Careful, Parker. Around here, family money keeps more than lights on. Cole's voice cut in quiet and flat. Travis. The cousin raised both hands, still smiling. Just making conversation. No, Cole said. You're testing the room to see if anyone stops you. The smile faded a little. Evelyn did not look at Travis. She looked at Lily. And what do you want from my grandson? The question landed in the center of the table. Lily could feel every face turn toward her. Cole had prepared her for this, but prepared answers felt thin now. Fake. Too clean for a room like this. She could say she cared about him. Too much, too soon, and not fully true. She could say nothing. Weak. She could say the relationship was private. Defensive. So, she chose the narrow path between truth and survival. I want him to be allowed to choose his own life. Warren laughed under his breath. How noble. Lily turned to him. And I want people to stop assuming that because I wasn't born rich, every choice I make is for sale. The table went silent. Brooke's fingers tightened around her wine glass. Evelyn leaned back. Bold answer. It was an honest one. Honesty is rarely safe in this house. I'm starting to notice. Cole's knee brushed hers beneath the table. It was accidental, maybe. Or maybe not. The soup was cleared. A salad arrived. Lily barely tasted it. Conversation shifted around her, but not away from her. Diane asked about her work experience. Margaret asked if she enjoyed Boston winters. One uncle asked whether she followed baseball, then seemed disappointed when she said her mother loved the Red Sox more than she did. For a few minutes, Lily almost believed she could survive the evening. Then Brooke smiled. How exactly did you and Cole meet? There it was, the lie. Cole answered smoothly. She interviewed for the assistant position 6 months ago. Brooke tilted her head. 6 months. How romantic. I didn't realize Callahan Holdings allowed office relationships. They don't, Cole said, which is why we kept it private. Warren's eyes narrowed. Convenient. Lily felt the lies stretch between them, a wire pulled tight. Diane looked from Cole to Lily, and who confessed feelings first? The question was gentle but dangerous in its own way. Cole's prepared answer was probably ready. Lily did not let him use it. He did, she said. Cole turned to her. Around the table, interest sharpened. Lily reached beneath the table and took his hand. His fingers stilled in hers. He was terrible at it, she added. Diane smiled. Was he awful? Very serious, very controlled. Made it sound like a business proposal. A soft laugh moved through part of the table. Cole's thumb brushed once across her knuckles. That sounds like him, Diane said. Evelyn watched them with unreadable eyes. Brooke did not laugh. No flowers, she asked. Lily looked at her. No, just honesty. I like that better. The lie should not have warmed her chest. It did anyway. The main course arrived. Beef, vegetables, potatoes arranged like art. Warren began speaking with one of the uncles about a waterfront development. The words sounded ordinary enough, but underneath them Lily heard names Cole had taught her. Permits. Shipping access. Whitmore interests. City council pressure. Cole answered in clipped phrases. Warren pressed harder. Travis joined in careless and sharp. Brooke sat silent, but her gaze kept returning to Lily. Finally, Evelyn raised one hand. The room obeyed. It was not dramatic. No one gasped, no one froze. They simply stopped like a machine cut from power. Evelyn looked at Lily. What do you think of this family? Cole's hand tightened around hers. Lily understood immediately. It was a trap with velvet lining. If she praised them, she would sound false. If she criticized them, she would sound ungrateful. If she dodged, Evelyn would know she lacked courage. Lily took a breath. I think everyone in this room is fighting for the same thing and calling it something different. Evelyn's expression did not change. Go on. Legacy, control, protection, pride. She looked briefly at Warren, then Brooke, then back to Evelyn. Maybe love if anyone here still remembers how to say it without making it sound like a threat. No one moved. Cole stared at her as if she had opened a door he had not known was there. Warren's voice went cold. You know nothing about this family, no, Lily said. I don't, but I know what fear looks like when people dress it up as duty. The silence deepened. For one awful second, Lily thought she had gone too far. Then Evelyn set down her wine glass. You have a spine. Lily's pulse hammered. I've needed one. Evelyn's mouth curved barely. Good. Dinner continued, but something had changed. Not acceptance. Lily was not foolish enough to mistake one word from Evelyn for safety. But the room had recalculated her. She could feel it. She was no longer just the girl Cole had dragged into a lie. Now she was a problem with a voice. After dessert, the men moved toward Warren's study for cigars and business that was not meant for her ears. Cole hesitated before leaving. Lily gave him a small look. Go. He did, but not before lowering his voice. Stay near Diane. I'm not a child. No, he said. That's why they'll be crueler. Then he left. The women gathered in a sitting room lined with books and oil paintings. A fire burned low in the hearth, filling the room with amber light. Diane guided Lily to a sofa by the window and poured tea from a silver pot. You did well, Diane said. Lily accepted the cup. I feel like I swallowed glass. That's also doing well here. Across the room, Brooke stood with Margaret laughing softly. Every few seconds her eyes moved to Lily. Diane noticed. Don't let Brooke pull you into a private conversation. Too late. She's been trying with her eyes for 10 minutes. Diane sighed. She was raised to believe Cole was her future. That kind of belief curdles when reality disagrees. Lily looked down at her tea. Was it real? The arrangement. Yes. And Cole. Cole has been saying no since he was old enough to understand what yes would cost him. Lily watched the fire shift. He told me he's trying to clean the company. Diane's face softened, but only a little. He is. That makes him dangerous to people who profit from dirt. Like his father, Diane did not answer quickly. Warren believes the old ways kept us alive. And Cole. Cole believes surviving isn't the same as living. The words stayed with Lily. A moment later, Brooke appeared beside the sofa. Lily, she said sweetly. Walk with me. Diane's hand tightened around her teacup. Lily stood, of course. Diane gave her a warning look. Lily answered it with a small, tired smile. The hallway outside the sitting room was quieter, lit by wall sconces and the glow from distant rooms. Brooke walked slowly, as if giving Lily time to admire everything she did not have. You handled dinner better than I expected, Brooke said. Thank you. It wasn't a compliment. I know. Brooke stopped near a tall window overlooking the wet garden. You think because Evelyn didn't carve you open at the table you passed. I think I survived one meal. Brooke smiled. At least you're not completely stupid. Lily folded her arms. What do you want? The smile vanished. To help you understand your position. My position. You are temporary. A distraction. A rebellion with brown eyes and a cheap dress. The words hit. Lily let them. Then she let them pass. Brooke stepped closer. I was raised for this world. I know every rule, every family, every debt. I know which judge owes Warren a favor and which senator drinks too much at Christmas. I know how to stand beside a man like Cole without becoming a liability." Lily's voice stayed calm. "Congratulations, you don't belong here." "No," Lily said. "I don't?" Brooke blinked, thrown by the agreement. Lily looked around the hallway at the portraits, the rugs, the quiet wealth pressed into every corner. But maybe belonging is overrated. Maybe people use that word when they mean obedient. Brooke's face tightened. "You have no idea what he is, I'm learning. You think there's a wounded man under all that control. There isn't. There's a Callahan. They take, they keep. They ruin whatever makes them feel weak." Lily's chest tightened because that fear had already found a home inside her. Brooke saw it. "There it is," she whispered. "You feel it too." Lily looked at her. "What I feel is none of your business. He used you." "Yes," Lily said. "He did." That admission cost her something. "But you know what scares you, Brooke? Not that he used me, that he may have stopped." For the first time, Brooke's mask cracked. Her eyes flashed. "You little nobody," maybe Lily said, but tonight everyone at that table learned my name. Footsteps sounded at the end of the hall. Cole appeared, his expression hardening as he took in the scene. "Brooke." She stepped back instantly, smoothing herself into elegance. "We were just talking." Cole's eyes moved to Lily. "Are you all right?" Lily felt Brooke waiting for her to need rescue. So she smiled. "I'm fine." Cole did not believe her. That was fine too. The ride back to Dorchester was quiet. Lily leaned against the window, watching Beacon Hill slip away behind them. Her body felt heavy with exhaustion. Her mind kept circling the same words. "He used you. He may have stopped." Cole sat beside her silent until they reached the river. "You held your ground. I had good training." "That wasn't training." She looked at him. "What was it?" His gaze stayed forward. "You." The answer was too simple, too warm. Lily turned back to the window. "Your aunt said you believe surviving isn't the same as living." Cole's face changed slightly. "Diane talks too much. She seems to care about you." "She does. That's why she tries to make things sound prettier than they are." "And are they ugly?" He looked out at the lights sliding across the water. "My grandfather built the family with fear. My father maintained it with obedience. I'm trying to turn it into something that can stand in daylight." "That sounds lonely." "It is." The honesty settled between them, quiet and heavy. Lily's voice softened before she could stop it. "Why not leave?" Cole gave a faint, humorless smile. "Because if I leave, Warren wins. Travis waits. Brooke's family moves in, the old contracts come back, the old threats, the old blood." He paused, and because some part of me still believes a name can be changed by the person carrying it. Lily looked at him then, and saw not the Boston King, not the man who had kissed her like a weapon, but a boy who had once been handed an empire and told it was a cage. The car stopped outside her building. Cole got out and walked her to the door. The rain had stopped, but the steps were slick beneath her heels. Streetlight glowed on the wet sidewalk. Somewhere down the block, music played from an open apartment window. Lily unlocked the front door, then turned. "Thank you for tonight," Cole said. She almost laughed. "I was the one being interrogated." "I know." His voice was low. "I'm sorry. For which part? All of it. That should have been too broad to matter." But his face made it specific. Lily nodded. "Good night, Cole. Good night, Lily." Neither of them moved. For one dangerous second, the space between them felt smaller than it should have. His hand lifted slightly, then stopped. He remembered. He waited. That waiting did more damage than the kiss had. Lily stepped back into the building. Cole stayed on the sidewalk until the door closed between them. Upstairs, Lily leaned against her apartment door and let out a breath she had been holding since Beacon Hill. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. For a moment, she could not move. Then she opened the message. A photo loaded slowly. It was Lily at dinner, seated beside Cole, her hand in his beneath the table. Below it was one line: "Enjoy playing Queen while it lasts." Lily did not sleep much after the message. The photo stayed open on her phone long after midnight, bright against the darkness of her bedroom. Her hand in Cole's under the table, his shoulder angled toward her. Her face turned slightly toward Evelyn, pretending to be brave, while someone else watched from the shadows and decided she needed to be reminded of her place. Enjoy playing Queen while it lasts. She read the words until they lost shape. Outside, rain whispered against the window. Somewhere in the building, pipes knocked inside the walls. Her apartment had always been small, but tonight it felt exposed, as if the walls were made of paper, and the whole city could see inside. By morning, Lily had convinced herself not to tell Cole. That lasted until she stepped out of her building and saw him waiting by the curb. He leaned against a black car in a dark coat, looking like he had been carved out of the cold Boston morning. His eyes moved over her face once, and she knew she had failed to hide everything. "You didn't sleep," he said. "Good morning to you, too." Lily. She pulled her coat tighter around herself and started toward the car. "I'm fine." He opened the door, but did not let her pass. Fine is what people say when they don't want anyone looking closer. She looked up at him. "And you always look closer when it matters." The answer was too quiet. It made her reach into her pocket, unlock her phone, and hold it out. Cole took it. His expression did not change at first. That was the frightening part. The stillness. The way all warmth disappeared from his face, leaving only the man people in Boston lowered their voices to speak about. Who sent this unknown number? When after you left. His thumb hovered over the screen. Did they send anything else? No. He looked at her then. And you weren't going to tell me. I was thinking about it. That means no. Lily took the phone back. I don't want every frightening thing in my life to become a Callahan emergency. It is a Callahan emergency if someone is threatening you because of me. They're threatening me because of us, she said, then immediately wished she could pull the word back. Us. It hung in the air between them, dangerous and warm. Cole heard it. Of course he did. His voice softened. Get in the car. She should have argued. Instead, she got in. The office was buzzing by the time they arrived. People looked at her differently now. Not openly, not enough to be accused of staring. But Lily felt the glances in the lobby and the elevator along the polished hall toward Cole's office. Nora was waiting inside with a tablet in one hand and a coffee in the other. I have bad news, she said. Cole removed his coat. Start with the worst. Nora looked at Lily first. That was when Lily knew. What happened? Nora placed the tablet on Cole's desk. A gossip site filled the screen. The headline was Large Cruel, and already being shared everywhere. Callahan's New Girl Love Story, or paid climb below it, was a photo of Lily and Cole leaving the Beacon Hill mansion. Her dress looked plain under the flash. His hand was near her back. Her face was turned away, caught in that awful split-second cameras loved when a person looked guilty simply because they were overwhelmed. Lily's throat tightened. Cole scrolled. There were other pictures. Her apartment building. The diner in Quincy where she had worked through college. A blurry photo of her mother outside St. Anne's Hospital. A copy of Lily's old college profile. The article painted her as desperate, ambitious, a woman from nowhere who had found a rich man and attached herself to him before he could marry someone suitable. Anonymous sources claimed she had pursued Cole while working under him. Another source, close to the family, said Cole was distracted, reckless, and being manipulated by someone who knew exactly how to look innocent. Lily's face burned. Nora's voice was careful. "We're already drafting legal notices. The hospital photo crosses a line, so does the apartment image." Cole did not speak. Lily looked at him. "Say something." His eyes remained on the screen. "If I say what I'm thinking, Nora will call a lawyer." "I already called 3, Nora said. Lily reached for the tablet, but Cole closed his hand over it. "Don't read the comments. I've already been publicly humiliated. I think I can survive comments." "No," he said, "you shouldn't have to." That almost broke her. Not the article, not the photo, not even the word climber repeated like a verdict. It was the fact that Cole sounded furious on her behalf, and Lily no longer knew how to keep that from mattering. Her phone rang. "Mama." The screen lit in her hand. Cole saw the name. His anger shifted into something quieter. "Take it in my office," he said. "I don't need privacy. You might want it." He stepped out with Nora before she could answer. Lily stood alone in the center of his office, surrounded by glass money in the city that had decided it knew her. She answered. "Hi, Mama." Mary Ann's voice was tight. "Lily, what is going on?" Lily closed her eyes. "It's complicated. I saw the article. People at work saw it. Someone sent it to my phone. I'm sorry. Don't apologize to me. Tell me if you're safe." Lily looked toward the closed office door. "I think so. You think so I am. Cole has security." A pause. "This, Cole. Is he good to you?" The question was simple. The answer was not. Lily thought of the first kiss, the contract, the car waiting in the rain, his hand stopping before it touched her, the way his face changed when he saw the photo of her mother. "He's trying," she said. Mary Ann sighed softly. Baby men with power always look like they're trying when they want something. "I know." "Do you?" Lily's voice lowered. "I'm learning." There was silence for a moment, and then her mother spoke gently. "I raised you to be careful, not small." Lily pressed her fingers against her eyes. "I'm not small, I know. That's why they're trying to make you feel that way." After the call ended, Lily sat in Cole's chair because her knees felt uncertain. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number, then again, and again. One message after another. "Leave him. You don't belong. Boston knows what you are." The last one made her blood go cold. Girls who climb too high fall hard. She placed the phone on the desk like it had become something dirty. Cole came back in a moment later. He saw her face. "What happened?" She nodded toward the phone. He picked it up, read the messages, and went terrifyingly quiet. "Nora." Nora appeared in the doorway. "Already tracing what we can. Send security to her mother." Lily stood. "No." Cole turned. "This is not negotiable. It absolutely is. Lily, my mother cannot have men following her into work like she's married to the president. Then they stay discreet. She'll know." "Good. No," Lily said, stepping closer. "You don't get to make her afraid because you're afraid." His jaw tightened. "I'm not afraid. Yes, you are." The words struck harder than she intended. Cole looked away. For the first time since she had met him, Lily saw something raw beneath the control. Not weakness. Never that. But fear buried so deep it had turned into command. He lowered his voice. "You don't know what my family does when it smells leverage. Then stop treating me like leverage. I'm trying to keep you alive. I am alive. I'm standing right here telling you to stop making decisions around me." Nora stepped back quietly, leaving them alone. Cole ran a hand through his hair. The gesture was rough, unpracticed, almost human. "This ends today," he said. Lily went still. "What, the arrangement, the appearances, the contract? I'll pay everything owed and more. I'll move you and your mother somewhere safe until this burns out." Her mouth parted. For a second she could not speak. Then anger rose clean and hot. "You are unbelievable." Cole looked at her. "I knew you'd be angry." "No. You hoped I'd be grateful." His expression hardened. "That's not fair. She laughed once. "You kissed me without asking. You made me your shield. You put a contract in front of me because your family scared me into needing one. And now that I'm inconveniently in danger, you want to end it without asking me too. I'm trying to protect you. I didn't ask to be protected like property." The words hit both of them. Cole's voice dropped. "That is not what you are. Then stop moving me around like something you own." He stepped closer, then stopped himself, hands flexing at his sides. "They are coming after you because of me. They are coming after me because they think I can be pushed out of your life." "You can." Lily flinched before she could hide it. Cole saw. His face changed immediately. "I didn't mean it like that." "Yes, you did." "No. I meant you can still leave." "And what if I don't want to?" The room went silent. Outside the windows, Boston blurred under low gray clouds. The city looked cold, distant, and beautiful in the cruel way expensive things often did. Cole stared at her. "What are you saying?" Lily's heart pounded so hard she could hear it. "I don't know." "Yes, you do." She shook her head. "I know I don't want you deciding for me. I know I don't want to run just because Brooke Whitmore and your father think I should. I know I hate this article and those messages and the way people look at me like I'm a stain on your sleeve." Her voice softened despite herself. "And I know that when you look at me like I matter, I start believing it, and that scares me more than any of them." Cole did not move. His control seemed to break slowly like ice splitting under weight. "You matter." "Don't you do, Cole. You mattered before I had any right to say it." Her breath caught. He stepped closer, still not touching her. "At first, I chose you because you were there. Because I needed a way out, and you were standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. That is the ugliest truth about how this started." Lily swallowed. He kept going. "But that is not why I want you here now." The office felt too small. Every sound disappeared except his voice. "You see things people in my world miss because they're too busy protecting their pride. You look at me like you expect better, and somehow that makes me want to be better. You tell me no when everyone else calculates the safest yes." His eyes held hers. "I don't want a fake girlfriend anymore." Lily's voice barely came out. "What do you want?" "A choice," he said. "Yours. Not one I force. Not one my family corners you into. Yours." The careful wall she had been building inside herself cracked. "And if I choose wrong, then I live with it." That easy, no. His mouth curved without humor. "Nothing about me is easy." A fragile laugh escaped her before she could stop it. Cole's face softened. "Lily." She looked at him. "If we do this, really do this, I'm not your assistant who plays dress-up at dinners. I'm not the girl you hide behind security every time your world gets ugly. I'm not a weakness you manage. No, I mean it. I know. I need to stand beside you, not behind you." Cole nodded slowly. "Beside me. And when I tell you you're wrong, you listen. That may happen often. It will." A real smile touched his mouth, then small and stunned, like he had forgotten what one felt like. Lily stepped closer. "Can I?" he asked softly. She answered by lifting her hand to his chest. Under her palm, his heart was not calm at all. The first kiss had been a weapon. This one was a question. Cole lowered his head slowly, giving her time to move away. She did not. Their mouths met softly at first, almost carefully, then deeper as the fear and anger and want tangled into something neither of them could pretend was part of a contract. When Lily pulled back, her hands were trembling. Cole rested his forehead against hers. "This is a terrible idea," she whispered. "Yes. You're supposed to disagree. I'm trying honesty." She laughed again, quieter this time. "It needs work." A knock came at the door. Nora's voice followed. "I hate to interrupt whatever emotional disaster is happening in there, but there are reporters in the lobby." Lily stepped back, cheeks warm. Cole closed his eyes for 1 second. "Of course there are." Nora opened the door and walked in, taking in their faces with one glance. "Oh," she said, "so we've made new choices." Lily looked away. Cole did not. "Yes." Nora exhaled. "Then we need to control the story before Warren and Brooke finish writing it for us." The lobby was louder than Lily expected. From the private elevator corridor, she could hear reporters shouting questions beyond the security line. Cameras flashed through the glass doors. Her name, mixed with Cole's, tossed back and forth by strangers who wanted sound bites more than truth. Cole stood beside her. "We can release a written statement." Lily looked at the crowd. "That won't be enough, no." She took a breath. "I want to speak." Cole turned sharply. "You don't have to. I know." "Lily, they'll twist anything you say. They're already twisting my silence." He looked like he wanted to argue. Then he remembered. "Beside me, not behind me." He nodded once. Nora handed Lily a small microphone before anyone could change their mind. Security opened a controlled path. The noise doubled. Lily stepped forward into the lobby lights. Questions came fast. "Are you and Cole Callahan really involved? Did you work for him before the relationship? Are you being paid? Did you break up his engagement?" Cole's hand hovered near her back but did not touch. Lily faced the cameras. "My name is Lily Parker," she said. The room quieted by a fraction. Not the girl, not the social climber, not whatever headline gets the most clicks today. "My name is Lily Parker." A flash went off near her face. She kept going. "I came to Callahan Holdings for a job. I did not come looking for attention, and I did not give anyone permission to photograph my home, my mother, or my private life." Her voice shook once. She steadied it. "Cole and I will answer what we choose to answer. We will not reward harassment with details, and any outlet that publishes private information about my family will hear from attorneys who are much less patient than I am." Nora murmured behind her, "Beautiful." A reporter shouted, "So are you confirming the relationship Lily felt, Cole beside her?" This was the edge, the moment where the lie either died or became something alive. Cole looked at her, asking without words. Lily answered by taking his hand. "Yes," she said, "we are." The lobby erupted. Cole's fingers closed around hers. For once, it did not feel like a performance. It felt like a door locking behind them. Later that afternoon, the official statement went out. It was brief, polished, and backed by legal threats sharp enough to make several gossip sites quietly remove photos of Marianne and Lily's apartment. The damage was not gone. It never disappeared that easily. But something had shifted. By evening, Lily was back in Cole's office sitting on the sofa with her shoes off, while Nora argued with a publicist over the phone, and Cole read security updates near the window. Her phone buzzed. This time the number was known. Cole saw the name on the screen before Lily said it. "Evelyn Callahan." Lily answered. "Mrs. Callahan." Evelyn's voice was smooth as smoke. "You spoke well today." Lily sat straighter. "Thank you. Do not mistake one decent performance for victory." "I won't." A pause. Then Evelyn said, "Dinner tonight, my penthouse, just you, Cole, and me." Lily looked at Cole. His face darkened with recognition. Evelyn continued, 8 o'clock. "Wear something honest." The line went dead. Lily lowered the phone. Cole watched her. What did she say? She said dinner, 8 o'clock. And apparently I need to wear something honest. Nora stopped pacing. Well, she said quietly, that's either very good or very bad. Lily looked at Cole. He was staring out at Boston again, jaw-tight, shoulders squared as if an old battlefield had called his name. She stood and slipped her shoes back on. Then I should probably eat first. Lily ate half a sandwich in Cole's office because Nora stood over her like a prison guard until she did. By 7:30, the city had turned black and gold beyond the glass. Boston glittered below them, all wet streets, old churches, moving headlights, and cold windows stacked against the night. Somewhere down there, people were leaving work, meeting friends for drinks, arguing over dinner reservations, living normal lives with normal problems. Lily stood near Cole's desk, smoothing the front of the same black dress she had worn to Beacon Hill. Cole watched her from across the room. What she asked, nothing. That is never true when men say it like that. His mouth curved slightly. You look ready, I look exhausted. That too. Nora stepped in from the conference room holding a garment bag. Evelyn said, wear something honest, not something defeated. Lily stared at the bag. What is that, a dress? I have a dress. You have armor pretending to be a dress. Tonight, you need something else. Lily opened the garment bag. Inside was a deep green dress, simple but elegant, with clean lines and soft fabric that looked expensive without screaming for attention. She touched the sleeve. I'm not letting Cole buy me clothes. He didn't, Nora said. I did. Lily looked up. Nora shrugged. Consider it an investment in my evening. If Evelyn decides she likes you, my workload drops by 10%. Cole leaned against his desk. That is the warmest thing she's said to anyone all week. Nora pointed at him. Do not ruin it. Lily changed in the private bathroom, staring at herself in the mirror longer than she meant to. The dress fit too well. It did not make her look like Brooke. It did not make her look like a Callahan. It made her look like herself, only steadier. Softer in places she had forgotten she was allowed to be soft. When she stepped out, Cole stopped talking. Nora noticed first. Of course she did. Good, Nora said. Now both of you try not to make terrible decisions in front of his grandmother. Lily looked at Cole. Is that possible? No, he said, but we can try. The drive to Evelyn's penthouse was quieter than the ride to Beacon Hill had been. There were no family members waiting this time, no long dining table, no Brooke smiling like polished poison from across the room. Still, Lily felt more nervous. A room full of enemies was easier to understand than one old woman who could make men twice her size go silent with a look. Evelyn lived in a building near the public garden in a penthouse that felt less like a home than a private museum for someone who had survived too much to enjoy clutter. Antique furniture sat beneath modern art. The floors shone dark beneath soft lamps. Through the windows, the city spread out below them, calm and beautiful, as if it had never hidden anything ugly. Evelyn opened the door herself. She wore black as always, with a single strand of pearls at her throat. Her gaze moved over Lily. Better, she said. Lily stepped inside. I was told to wear something honest. You listened. Was that the test? Evelyn's mouth moved like she might smile, but did not. Child, the test began before you entered the building. Cole's hand touched Lily's lower back after she gave a small nod. Evelyn saw the permission pass between them. Her eyes sharpened. Interesting. Dinner was already set on a round table near the windows. No staff moved through the rooms. No butler poured the wine. Evelyn did it herself, filling 3 glasses with careful hands. The meal looked simple. Roast chicken potatoes, greens, warm bread. Lily suspected each ingredient cost more than her weekly groceries, but at least she recognized everything on the plate. Evelyn sat first. "Let us avoid wasting time," she said. "I am too old to enjoy bad theater." Cole set his napkin in his lap. "Then why invite us?" "Because you two performed very publicly today, and I wanted to know if there was a spine beneath the script." Lily met Evelyn's eyes. "There was no script." "Good. Scripts are useful only when everyone remembers their lines." Evelyn picked up her wineglass but did not drink. She turned to Lily. "What are your intentions with my grandson?" Cole's jaw tightened. "Nonna, I did not ask you." Lily placed her hands in her lap to keep from twisting her fingers. "I don't have intentions?" Evelyn lifted one brow. "That is either innocent or stupid." "I have feelings," Lily said. "I am still deciding whether those make me brave or stupid." Cole looked at her then, and the room seemed to hold its breath. Evelyn leaned back. "And his money," Lily did not flinch. "It would make my life easier." Cole went still beside her. Lily continued, "That is the truth. Anyone who is worried about rent would be a liar to say otherwise, but easy is not why I stayed." Evelyn watched her. "Why did you, Lily, looked out at the city for 1 second, gathering the words from somewhere honest enough to survive this woman? Because when everyone else talks about Cole, they talk about what he controls, what he owes, what he can be used for. I stayed because I started seeing the man underneath all that." Her voice softened. "And because sometimes he looks at me like I am not just someone he pulled into trouble, but someone he wishes he had met before trouble taught him how to live." Cole's hand found hers under the table. This time she held on first. Evelyn turned to him. "And you?" Cole did not answer quickly. "I see someone who tells me the truth when it would be easier not to. Someone who expects me to be better than the men who raised me. Someone who does not need the Callahan name to feel real." His thumb moved once against Lily's hand. "She makes me want to build something that deserves her standing beside it." The silence after that was heavy but not cruel. Evelyn looked down at her plate. For the first time, Lily saw the old woman not as a queen, but as someone tired of watching the same war repeat through different men. "You are both fools," Evelyn said. Lily's stomach sank. Then Evelyn lifted her glass. "But honest fools are rare in this family." Cole exhaled slowly. "Is that your blessing?" "That is an ugly word. It makes me sound sentimental." "Your approval, then." "My tolerance," Evelyn said. "Do not get greedy." Lily almost smiled. The rest of dinner moved more easily, though never comfortably. Evelyn asked questions that sounded casual and landed like knives. She asked Lily about her mother, her work, her degree, her father. Lily answered with enough truth to be respected and enough privacy to remain herself. When Evelyn asked what Lily had wanted before business school, Lily hesitated. "I wanted to teach," she said. Cole turned toward her. He had heard pieces of this before, but not like this. "Elementary school," Lily continued. "I like the idea of being the adult who notices when a kid is struggling before the world calls them difficult." Evelyn studied her. "And you gave it up. I postponed it. For money, for survival." Evelyn nodded once. "At least you know the difference." After dinner, Cole stepped away to take a call from Nora. Evelyn waited until he was out of earshot before she spoke. "This family will test you again." Lily looked toward the hallway where Cole had disappeared. "I figured." "No, you do not figure. You hope courage works the same every time. It does not." Lily turned back. Evelyn's voice was lower now. "They will find the tender places. Your mother, your pride, your fear that he used you at the beginning because he did. Your fear that he will choose power if forced because most men do." Lily swallowed. "Will he?" Evelyn's expression did not soften. "That depends on whether you let him hide behind sacrifice. I don't understand. Cole thinks protection means making himself lonely. Warren thinks power means making others obedient. Both are prisons, different wallpaper. Lily looked down at her hands. What am I supposed to do? Do not save him, Evelyn said. Stand where he can see you when he starts becoming his father. The words settled deep. Cole returned then, phone in hand. His face changed. Lily knew before he spoke. What happened, my father called an emergency board session. 9 tomorrow morning. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. So Warren finally stopped sulking and chose war. Cole put the phone away. He is claiming compromised judgment, media exposure, conflicts of interest. Lily's throat tightened. Because of me. Cole looked at her. Because he needs an excuse. Evelyn stood slowly and walked to the window. Below, Boston shone cold and bright. How many votes does he have for confirmed? He needs 7 to force a confidence vote. And the undecided Martelli, Jong, and Patterson. Evelyn's mouth tightened. Martelli fears scandal. Jong fears instability. Patterson fears losing money. Cole nodded. Then we give them numbers. Evelyn turned. No. You give them numbers. She gives them something Warren does not have. Lily looked at her. What Evelyn's gaze held hers. A reason to believe the future has changed. The next morning began before sunrise. Lily arrived at Callahan Tower with Cole just after 7. The building felt different, charged and quiet, like everyone inside knew a storm had entered through the front doors and taken the private elevator upstairs. Nora met them with coffee and a stack of folders. Warren's team circulated the memo at 5:40. He is moving fast. Cole took the papers. He always moves fast when he thinks people are waking up. Nora looked at Lily. You should know what is in it. I already guessed. No, Nora said. Read it anyway. Guessing lets pain sneak up from behind. Lily took the memo. The language was polished, professional, and vicious. Warren claimed Cole's personal conduct had damaged the company's reputation. He cited media exposure, investor anxiety, and the threatened collapse of the Whitmore alliance. He did not call Lily a gold digger. He did not have to. Every sentence pointed at her like a loaded finger. By the time she finished, her hands were cold. Cole watched her. Do you want to step out, number Lily? She placed the memo on the desk. If I leave the room, every time someone uses me as a weakness, they are right. Nora gave Cole a look that said, Listen to her, or I will make your life worse. Cole turned to the window. We need to prove the Whitmore alliance is not the safe option. Nora spread documents across the conference table. Shipping agreements, asset maps, investor letters, board profiles, legal notes. Cole moved through them with frightening speed, marking weaknesses, calling executives, demanding numbers. Lily stood at the edge of the table, reading quietly. At first, no one gave her a task. She did not wait for one. She pulled the Whitmore proposal toward her and began reading the sections no one had highlighted. Definitions, ownership clauses, transfer permissions, logistics site operations. It was dry, dense, designed to make eyes slide past danger. Then she saw it, a paragraph buried in the middle of an appendix. Her finger stopped. She read it once, then again. Cole. He was speaking with Nora and did not hear. Lily looked at the asset map, then back to the clause. Cole. This time, something in her voice cut through the room. He turned. What is it? She slid the proposal toward him. This clause gives Whitmore Logistics operational control over 3 waterfront sites if the alliance becomes active. Cole came to her side. That is expected. No, Lily said. Read the second condition. He read it. His face sharpened. Nora leaned over his shoulder. Son of a bitch. Lily pointed to the asset map. These 3 sites are tied to shell companies being reviewed by federal regulators. If the Callahan board approves this deal, you are not securing the company. You are giving the Whitmores access to dirty assets and letting them put your name on whatever happens next. Cole looked at Nora. Confirm it. Nora was already moving. I'm on it. Cole turned back to Lily. How did you find this? She gave him a tired look. I read the boring parts. For 1 second, despite everything, he smiled. Then the smile disappeared. My father either missed this or buried it. Lily looked at the clause. Which one scares you more? Cole did not answer. He did not need to. At 9 o'clock, the boardroom was full. It sat on the 47th floor, wrapped in glass with Boston Harbor spread beyond the windows. Men and women in tailored suits took their seats around the long table. Some looked at Cole. Some looked at Lily. Several looked away as if eye contact might cost them something. Warren sat at the far end of the table. He looked pleased. That was the first warning. Brooke was not present, but her shadow was. The Whitmore proposal sat in front of every board member bound in navy leather with silver lettering. Cole entered with Lily beside him. The room went quiet. Warren's eyes moved to her dress, then to Cole. This is a board meeting, not a social engagement. Cole pulled out a chair for Lily. She stays. Warren's smile was thin. Of course she does. Lily sat spine straight, heart punching against her ribs. The meeting began with formal language. Governance. Reputation. Risk. Strategic alignment. Warren spoke beautifully, which made Lily hate him more. He turned concern into a weapon. He made control sound responsible. He made Cole's attempt to build something cleaner sound like youthful arrogance. Then he turned to Lily without saying her name. Recent personal entanglements have placed this company under unnecessary public scrutiny. Investors are not sentimental. Markets do not care about romance. Leadership requires discipline. Cole sat motionless. Warren continued. The Whitmore alliance offers stability at a critical moment. Rejecting it for personal reasons would be reckless. The board has a duty to consider whether current leadership remains capable of separating private desire from corporate obligation. The words private desire slid across the table like poison. Cole finally spoke. My father is right about one thing. Leadership requires discipline. He opened the folder in front of him. Under my management, legitimate revenue has grown 31% in 5 years. Exposure to high-risk cash channels has dropped by 46%. We have moved 3 divisions out of legacy contracts that made us vulnerable to federal review. A board member named Martelli adjusted his glasses. Those transitions were expensive. So were the lawsuits they prevented, Cole said. Jong leaned forward. And the Whitmore alliance. Cole looked at Lily. It was not permission exactly. It was trust. Lily stood. A few people shifted. Warren's face hardened. You cannot be serious. Lily looked at him. I usually am. A quiet sound came from Nora near the wall. Almost a cough. Almost a laugh. Lily placed copies of the clause in front of the 3 undecided board members first. The Whitmore Agreement contains an operational control clause tied to waterfront assets currently under regulatory review. If approved as written, the alliance does not reduce risk. It transfers access to questionable assets while keeping Callahan Holdings exposed. Patterson frowned, reading quickly. Where is this Appendix C, Section 14? Jong flipped pages. Warren's voice went cold. Miss Parker is an assistant with no standing in this room. Lily turned to him. Then it is embarrassing I found what you missed. The room went still. Cole's eyes lowered for 1 second as if hiding a reaction. Warren stood. "You arrogant little girl." Cole rose so fast his chair scraped the floor. "That is enough." Lily did not sit. She did not step back. "No," she said quietly, "let him finish." Cole looked at her. She kept her eyes on Warren. "If he has an argument, I would like to hear it. If all he has is my job title, then the board should know that too." Patterson looked from Lily to the clause. "Has legal reviewed this?" Nora stepped forward. "Yes, we confirmed the exposure 12 minutes ago." Martelli's face had gone pale. "This should have been disclosed." Cole looked at his father. "Yes, it should have." Warren's jaw worked. For the first time he looked cornered. Not beaten. Men like Warren did not break in public. But cornered. The vote did not go his way. There was no dramatic shouting. No one slammed a fist on the table. Power rarely died loudly in rooms like that. It shifted through murmured abstentions, changed votes, careful language, and men realizing the safer bet had moved. The confidence motion failed before it was formally born. Cole remained in control. Warren gathered his papers with steady hands. As people began to leave, Lily sat down before her knees could betray her. Cole leaned close. "You did it." She stared at the table. "I think I insulted your father in front of the board. You did. Badly, beautifully." She let out a breath that almost became a laugh. Warren stopped beside them on his way out. His eyes were not on Cole. They were on Lily. "You should enjoy this moment," he said. "Rooms like this can turn quickly." Lily looked up. "I am starting to learn that people say that when the room has already turned against them." His face hardened. Cole stepped between them. "Walk away." Warren looked at his son. "You think she makes you strong?" Cole's voice was low. "No. She reminds me I do not have to become you." For a heartbeat, something old and wounded crossed Warren's face. Then it vanished. "You think clean hands can hold power?" Cole did not move. "I think bloody ones eventually lose their grip." Warren left without another word. That evening, after the lawyers' calls, investor briefings, and quiet internal panic had settled into something manageable, Lily found Cole alone in his office. He stood at the window jacket, off sleeves rolled, the city reflected over his face. "You won," she said. He did not turn. For now. She walked closer. "You hate saying that. I hate that it is true." Lily stood beside him. Below them, Boston Harbor was black, broken by light. "My father will not stop because he lost one vote. Brooke will not stop because the deal is damaged. Travis will look for whatever opening he can find." Lily looked at his reflection in the glass. "And you?" Cole turned to her. "What about me? What are you going to do besides prepare for everyone to betray you?" He let out a quiet breath. "That sounds like a practical plan. It sounds lonely." His eyes softened. "You have said that before. I keep being right." That almost made him smile. Lily reached into the folder she had brought with her and pulled out several pages. "I want to talk about something." Cole glanced at the papers. "If this is another hidden clause, I may propose immediately out of fear." She ignored the warmth that moved through her chest. "It is not about the board. It is about the foundation." His expression changed. "The one Nora mentioned. The one you mentioned first. Scholarships, housing support, small business grants, real work, not just gala money and pretty speeches." Cole took the pages. "You drafted this while you were on calls." He read in silence. Lily waited, trying not to look nervous. Finally, he said, "This is good, I know." He looked up. There was that smile again, small and real. "I want to run it," she said. Cole stilled. "As part of Callahan Holdings' number adjacent to it. Funded by it, yes. Governed separately, transparent accounting, independent board. No secret family favors hidden inside charity. His eyes moved across her face. You have been thinking about this. I have been thinking about who I become if I stay. Cole said nothing. Lily continued. I do not want power because I am standing next to you. I do not want people to say I went from assistant to girlfriend to decorative charity wife. I want work that still belongs to me when you leave the room. He looked down at the papers again. And if I hate the idea of you in more rooms where people try to cut you apart, then you can hate it quietly while I do my job. He laughed under his breath. You realize you are terrifying. I have had good teachers. Cole set the papers down with care. What do you need? Lily had expected resistance. Argument, protection disguised as love. The question made her throat tighten. I need funding, office space, Nora's help for legal structure if she agrees, and your promise not to interfere every time someone doubts me. Cole studied her. You ask for difficult things. I learned from the best. He stepped closer. I promise. She searched his face. I mean it, Cole. So do I. For once, she believed him without needing to fight for it. Later that night, Brooke Whitmore sat in a private club overlooking Commonwealth Avenue surrounded by dark wood low lamps, and men who preferred their schemes poured with expensive bourbon. Travis Callahan sat across from her, tie, loosened pride, bruised. You said Warren had the votes, Brooke said. Travis took a drink. He did until your family's perfect little deal started smelling like federal prison. Brooke's eyes flashed. Careful. No, Travis said. You be careful. Cole survived Warren today. That makes him harder to remove. Brooke opened the leather folder on the table between them. Cole survived because everyone was looking at Warren. Inside were photographs, copies of emails, donor lists, and a draft invitation for the new foundation gala. Travis leaned forward. What is this? Brooke's smile returned slow and bright and empty. If Lily Parker wants to build her own room, then we burn it down before she can open the doors. The first thing Lily learned about charity galas was that rich people could turn kindness into theater if no one stopped them. By the following Friday, the Boston Public Library had been transformed into something almost unreal. Marble columns rose beneath gold light. White flowers spilled from tall glass vases. A string quartet played near the staircase soft enough to sound expensive and sad. Waiters moved through the room with trays of champagne, their black jackets sharp against the glow of chandeliers. Everywhere Lily looked, there were diamonds, tailored suits, practiced smiles, and old Boston names stitched invisibly into the air. She stood in a side corridor with her speech folded in one hand and her mother's bracelet around her wrist. It was not valuable. Not to anyone else. Thin silver, a little worn. Mary Ann had given it to her after Lily graduated college back when they celebrated with grocery store cake in the kitchen, because a restaurant would have been irresponsible. Tonight, that bracelet felt heavier than any diamond in the room. Nora stood beside her, checking the final guest list on her tablet. You are pacing. I am walking with concern. You are pacing with lipstick. Lily stopped. Nora looked her over. You look good. That sounded painful for you. It was. Appreciate it. Lily glanced toward the main hall. Through the open doorway, she saw Cole speaking with two investors near a marble column. He wore a black suit, white shirt, no tie. Calm. Controlled. Beautiful in a way that still felt inconvenient. Then his eyes found her across the room. The noise seemed to lower. He excused himself and walked toward her. Nora looked at Lily's face and sighed. I am going to pretend I have something urgent to do because, apparently, love has become part of my job description. She left before Lily could respond. Cole stopped in front of Lily, his gaze moving from her face to the paper in her hand. Nervous, no. He waited. Yes. His mouth softened. Good. That is a terrible answer. If you were not nervous, it would mean this did not matter. Lily looked out at the crowd. It matters too much. The Parker Callahan Foundation had gone from an idea on a few pages to a public launch in less than 2 weeks. Cole had moved money. Nora had built structure. Evelyn had made calls that opened doors no one else could touch. Lily had spent long nights reviewing applications from students, families, and small business owners who sounded so much like people she had known that she had cried once in the office bathroom and told no one. This was not a performance. That was why it terrified her. Cole reached for her hand, then paused. "Can I?" The question still did something to her. She slipped her hand into his. "Yes." His thumb brushed over her knuckles. "You do not need to prove anything tonight." Lily looked up at him. That is exactly what someone says when a room is waiting for proof. His eyes moved over her face. "Then prove it to yourself, not them." Before she could answer, a ripple moved through the room. Lily turned. Brooke Whitmore had arrived. She wore silver smooth and bright, her blonde hair swept back her smile, calm enough to frighten. Travis Callahan walked near her, careful not to seem too close. They were both too polished, too ready. Cole saw them and went still. Lily felt the change in his hand. "Cole, I see them. That is not what I meant." His jaw tightened. "I know." She stepped in front of him, slightly forcing him to look at her instead of Brooke. "No decisions without me." He took a breath through his nose. "No decisions without you." From across the hall, Brooke lifted her glass in Lily's direction. Lily did not lift hers back. Evelyn appeared beside them with the silent precision of a blade sliding from silk. "She came dressed for a funeral," Evelyn said. Lily looked at Brooke's silver gown, whose Evelyn's mouth curved. "That is the question." Cole's phone buzzed. Then Nora appeared from the corridor, walking fast. Not running. Nora never ran. Running admitted panic, and Nora would rather swallow glass. Her eyes went to Cole first, then Lily. "We have a problem." Lily's stomach dropped. Cole's voice lowered. "What kind?" Nora handed him the tablet. 3 reporters just received an anonymous packet. They are asking for comment before publishing. Lily leaned close enough to see the screen. There were documents, emails, bank transfers, cropped images of foundation drafts. The headline one outlet had prepared was already visible in a message thread. "Callahan girlfriend uses charity as personal ladder." Lily felt the room tilt. Nora spoke quickly. "They are claiming foundation seed money was redirected to Lily's personal accounts. It is false. Completely. The documents are fabricated, but they are made to look close enough to cause damage before we can kill it." Cole's face emptied. Evelyn took the tablet. "Brooke," likely, Nora said. "But there is more." She swiped to another screen. A still image from security footage appeared. Brooke and Travis in the private club. A timestamp, a folder on the table. Another image showed Brooke's assistant sending files from a hotel business center. Nora had receipts, timestamps, digital trails. Lily stared at the evidence. "She did all this tonight." "She timed it for your speech," Nora said. "The plan was to have reporters confront you as you walked on stage." Lily looked toward the main hall. People were still laughing, drinking, waiting for the program to begin. They had no idea a blade had just been placed under the evening. Cole handed the tablet back to Nora. "Get Charles Whitmore here. He is already in the room." "Good." Cole started to move. Lily caught his arm. "Where are you going to end this?" The calm in his voice scared her more than rage would have. She stepped closer. "How?" His eyes stayed on Brooke. "Publicly." Evelyn watched him with interest. Lily shook her head. "No." Cole looked at her. "She tried to destroy you." "Yes." "Me, not just you." His chest rose once. She does not get to walk away from this. I am not asking you to let her. Then what are you asking? Lily looked at the stage at the microphone waiting beneath soft light. I am asking you not to make my first night as head of this foundation about your revenge. The words struck him. She saw it. Cole looked from her to Brooke, then back again. His voice was rougher when he answered. She hurt you. She tried. Lily swallowed. Let me decide what that means. Evelyn's eyes settled on Cole. For a moment, Lily remembered the older woman's warning. Stand where he can see you when he starts becoming his father. Cole's gaze shifted back to Lily. The old violence was there. Not in his hands, not yet, but in the instinct. The Callahan instinct. Destroy the threat. Make the room remember fear. Then he looked at Lily's face and stepped back from it. All right, he said. Lily exhaled. Nora looked between them. We can stop the article before it publishes. Do it, Lily said, quietly. Cole turned, quietly. For now. His eyes narrowed slightly. Lily lifted the folded speech in her hand. I still have something to say. The program began 10 minutes later. A board member gave opening remarks. Then Evelyn spoke briefly, which meant 3 sentences that somehow made everyone in the room stand straighter. Cole introduced the foundation with a voice steady enough that no one would guess he had been ready to burn down 3 family reputations moments earlier. Then he looked toward the side of the stage. Lily Parker. Applause rose politely. Lily walked into the light. For a moment, all she could see were faces. Rich faces. Curious faces. Doubtful faces. A few kind ones. Her mother stood near the front beside Nora, wearing her best navy dress, both hands clasped tightly over her purse. Marianne's eyes shone with worry and pride. Lily placed her notes on the podium. Her hands trembled. She let them. The microphone picked up her first breath. I had a speech prepared, she said. A soft ripple moved through the audience. Lily looked down at the paper, then folded it once and set it aside. But I think the honest thing is better tonight. Cole stood near the front of the crowd. His eyes never left her. Lily looked at the room. When a woman like me walks into a room like this, people ask certain questions before she ever opens her mouth. Who invited her? Who dressed her? Who is she standing next to? What does she want? What did she trade to get here? The silence changed. It sharpened. Lily continued. They ask if she belongs, but belonging is a word powerful people often use when they mean permission. Her voice steadied. I grew up in an apartment where bills lived on the kitchen table like unwanted guests. My mother worked until her feet hurt and still came home asking if I had eaten. I learned early that dreams are easier to praise when someone else can afford them. She found Marianne in the crowd. Her mother was crying now. Lily kept going. I wanted to teach. I wanted to notice children who were being overlooked because I knew what it felt like to be one emergency away from disappearing. But life asks practical things from people without safety nets. So I chose work that paid. I chose survival first. Brooke stood near the edge of the room still smiling, but the smile had tightened. This foundation exists for people who have been told survival is the best they can hope for. Students who are brilliant but broke. Parents who are tired but still showing up. Small business owners who have the skill, the plan, the hunger, but not the family name that makes banks feel generous. A deeper quiet filled the hall. Lily's fingers touched the bracelet at her wrist. I know what some people have said about me. I know what they tried to make my story mean. But I am not ashamed of needing money. I am not ashamed of working for better. I am not ashamed of coming from a place where people count dollars carefully and love fiercely. Her eyes moved to Brooke. And I will not apologize for entering a room that was never built with women like me in mind. A murmur. Then stillness again. Lily looked back at the crowd. I am here because doors should not only open for people born beside them. I am here because opportunity should not feel like trespassing. And if this foundation does anything right, it will not turn charity into pity. It will turn access into something practical, measurable, and real. She took a breath. So, tonight is not about who I am dating. It is not about gossip family rivalries or the old habit of calling ambitious women dangerous when they refuse to stay grateful and quiet. Cole's eyes darkened with something like pride. Lily smiled faintly. Tonight is about opening the door and keeping it open after the cameras leave. For one heartbeat, no one moved. Then Marianne began clapping. Nora followed. Evelyn lifted her hands slowly once, twice elegant and decisive. The applause spread through the hall until it became a wave. Lily stood under the light, breathing through the shock of it. Across the room, Brooke lowered her glass. Her face had gone pale. After the speech, the gala became something alive. Donors approached Lily with real questions. A woman from a local education nonprofit asked to meet next week. A retired judge offered to sit on an advisory committee. A young man serving champagne whispered that his sister was applying for the scholarship and that Lily's speech would make her cry. That almost undid her. Cole found her near the staircase 20 minutes later. "You changed the room," he said. Lily looked out at the crowd. "No, I just made it harder for them to pretend they could not hear me." His smile was soft. Then Nora appeared again. "Charles Whitmore is in the East Gallery. Brooke is with him." Travis tried to leave through the side exit. Security encouraged him to reconsider. Lily looked at Cole. He offered his hand. This time it was not for show. The East Gallery was quieter, lined with paintings and washed in low light. Charles Whitmore stood near a marble bench, silver-haired and rigid with fury. Brooke stood beside him, arms crossed tightly. Travis sat on the bench, looking less like a threat now that he had nowhere to go. Evelyn stood near the doorway like she had been born to witness judgment. Nora placed the tablet on the bench. The forged documents were distributed from an account connected to Miss Whitmore's assistant. We have footage of Miss Whitmore and Mr. Callahan meeting privately to discuss foundation materials. We also have a draft of the smear packet recovered from a device used at the club. Brooke's voice was cold. "This is ridiculous." Charles turned to her. "Do not insult me by lying badly." Her face changed. "Daddy." "No." The single word silenced her. Charles looked at Cole. "This was not authorized by my family." Cole's expression gave nothing away. "It was done by your daughter using your name as cover." Charles's jaw tightened. "She will be removed from all Whitmore negotiations." Immediately, Brooke stared at him. "You cannot be serious. You risked $100 million and 3 generations of work because you were embarrassed." "I was promised this life." Lily spoke before she meant to. Everyone looked at her. Brooke's eyes burned. Lily's voice was quiet. "I believe you." Brooke froze. "I believe people told you that marrying Cole would make you powerful. Safe chosen whatever word they used to make a cage sound like a crown." Cole glanced at Lily. She kept her eyes on Brooke. "But being hurt does not give you the right to ruin someone else." Brooke's mouth trembled with rage. "You took everything from me." "No," Lily said. "I interrupted what other people told you was yours." Charles looked away, ashamed or angry or both. Travis muttered, "This is touching, but can we discuss my situation?" Evelyn looked at him. "Your situation is that you still have teeth because my grandson has learned restraint." Travis went quiet. Cole stepped forward. "The Whitmore alliance is finished. any active negotiations involving Brooke end tonight. Travis resigns from Callahan Holdings by morning. Publicly, this dies as a restructuring decision. Privately, if either of you comes near Lily, her mother, or the foundation again, Nora releases everything. Nora smiled without warmth. And I have organized everything very neatly. Brooke stared at Cole. That is it, you are not going to destroy me. Cole looked at Lily, then back at Brooke. No. Brooke seemed almost offended. Cole's voice lowered. Do not mistake this for forgiveness. This is me choosing not to become my father just because you handed me a reason. Evelyn's expression shifted. Not surprise. Approval buried deep. Charles took Brooke by the arm. We are leaving. Brooke looked at Lily one last time. There was hatred there. Humiliation, too. But beneath it, for the briefest second, something hollow and young. Then she was gone. Travis followed security out under Nora's watchful eye. Only Cole, Lily, and Evelyn remained. Evelyn walked toward Cole and touched his cheek with 2 fingers, a gesture so unexpected that Lily looked away to give them privacy. You did well, Evelyn said. Cole's face tightened. That sounded almost kind. Do not get used to it. He smiled faintly. Evelyn turned to Lily, and you. Stop making speeches that make old women emotional. It is rude. Lily smiled for the first time all night without effort. I will try. No, you will not. Evelyn left them in the gallery. Music drifted in from the main hall. Soft violin. Low voices. Glasses clinking. The storm had passed, but Lily could still feel the shape of it in her body. Cole stood beside her. I wanted to ruin her. I know. I still do a little. I know that too. He looked down at his hands. My father would have. Lily reached for him. You are not your father. Cole's voice was rough. Not tonight. Tonight counts. He looked at her then, and there was no king in his face, no dangerous air, no man made of old violence and polished control. Just Cole, tired, trying, hers, if she chose him. The gala ended after midnight. Marianne hugged Lily so tightly in the lobby that Lily nearly lost her breath. You were wonderful, her mother whispered. I was scared, I know. That is why it mattered. Cole approached carefully as if Marianne Parker were the one person in Boston he did not know how to handle. Marianne looked him up and down. You caused my daughter a lot of trouble. Yes, ma'am. Lily bit her lip. Marianne nodded once. You also looked at her tonight like she hung the moon. Cole did not blink. She does more than that. Marianne studied him for a long moment. If you hurt her, I will not be impressed by your money. I would not expect you to be. Good. Then Marianne hugged him. Cole stood frozen for half a second before slowly returning the gesture. Lily looked away, smiling through sudden tears. Weeks passed. Not peacefully. Peace was too easy a word for what followed. There were legal meetings, press statements, donor calls, tense family dinners, and 3 separate occasions where Nora threatened to quit and then showed up early the next morning with coffee. But things changed. Travis resigned. Brooke left Boston for Palm Beach or Paris, depending on which gossip column felt most dramatic. Warren retreated from open attacks, though his silence had teeth. Evelyn began inviting Lily to tea, which was less a social visit and more advanced training in reading powerful liars. The foundation opened a small office near Roxbury. Lily chose the location herself. On the first day, she stood in the empty space with paint samples on the floor and sunlight falling through dusty windows. Cole walked in carrying 2 coffees and a box of donated books. Lily looked around. It is not very glamorous. Cole set the box down. No, it needs work. So do most things worth keeping. She turned to him with a smile. That sounded dangerously healthy. I am improving. Do not get arrogant. Too late. The first scholarship ceremony happened in early spring. 6 students stood on a small stage with their families crying in the front row. Marianne sat beside Cole, passing tissues to strangers. Evelyn attended in black and pretended not to be moved. Nora handled the program with military precision. Lily gave a shorter speech this time. Afterward, a teenage girl with nervous hands told Lily she wanted to become a teacher. Lily had to step into the hallway for a minute. Cole found her there. She was wiping tears with the heel of her hand. Do not say anything, she warned. I was not going to. You were. I was going to ask if I could hold you. That ruined her completely. She stepped into his arms. Months later, on a clear evening in late May, Cole asked Lily to meet him by the harbor after work. She arrived in flats carrying a folder and suspicion. If this is a surprise donor dinner, I am leaving you. Cole stood near the railing, the water behind him catching the last gold of sunset. No donors, no reporters, no family hiding nearby. Evelyn wanted to. Nora stopped her. Lily laughed. The sound moved through him visibly. He took her hand. I brought you here because this city has seen every version of us. The lie, the contract, the scandal, the fight. I wanted it to see this too. Lily's breath slowed. Cole. He lowered himself to one knee. For a moment, she heard nothing. Not the water, not the traffic, not the gulls overhead. Only her own heart. Cole opened a small box. The ring was beautiful, but not enormous, elegant, clear. Chosen with care, not ego. The first time I kissed you, I made you part of a lie, he said. I have regretted that every day since. Lily's eyes filled. But every day after you chose your way back to yourself. You chose your voice. You chose your work. You chose to stand beside me when most people would have run, and you made sure standing beside me never meant standing behind me. His voice roughened. I do not want a wife for the family. I do not want a symbol for the company. I want you, as you are, as you become, as long as you choose me back. Lily pressed a hand to her mouth. Lily Parker, he said, will you marry me? She looked at him through tears. I have conditions. He laughed softly, eyes shining. I assumed no making decisions about my life without me. Agreed. No turning protection into control. Agreed. No pretending you are fine when you are carrying too much. He nodded more slowly. Agreed, and I keep my name. Cole smiled. I would not dare ask you not to. Lily lowered her hand. Then yes. He stood, slid the ring onto her finger and kissed her as the city moved around them. This kiss was not a weapon. It was not a performance. It was not a lie dressed as survival. It was a promise made in open air. Their wedding was small by Callahan standards, which meant only 100 people, and Evelyn complaining that restraint had gone too far. They married near the harbor beneath a pale sky with Marianne crying before the music started, and Nora holding emergency safety pins in her clutch like weapons. Warren attended. He sat in the back. He did not smile, but he stood when Lily walked down the aisle. For him, perhaps that was surrender. Brooke did not come. No one said her name. When Lily reached Cole, he took her hands like they were something sacred and breakable and strong all at once. You ready? He whispered. She smiled. No. His eyes warmed. Good. And she married him anyway. A year later, Lily stood in Cole's office on the 47th floor of Callahan Tower. The same office where everything had begun. The black marble still shone. The windows still looked out over Boston. The desk still seemed too large for any man who did not secretly enjoy intimidation. But the room felt different now. There were foundation reports on the table. Scholarship letters stacked beside Cole's contracts. A framed photo of Marianne at the first ceremony. Another of Evelyn pretending not to smile at the wedding. Lily stood by the window reading a proposal for a new small business fund. Cole leaned in the doorway watching her. You know, he said this all started because I kissed my shy assistant. Lily turned slowly. Careful. His mouth curved. You are not that shy anymore. No, she said, walking toward him. And I am not your assistant. No. She stopped in front of him and straightened his collar. And you are not the Boston King. He caught her hand and kissed her fingers. No, you are a man with too many expensive suits and a wife who checks your worst instincts. Cole smiled. That sounds less impressive. It is better. He looked past her out over the city. Below them, Boston shone in the morning light. Old brick. New glass. Water moving steadily toward the sea. A city full of secrets, yes, but also second chances if someone was stubborn enough to build them. Lily followed his gaze. For a long time they stood together without speaking. Then Cole took her hand, not to claim her, not to protect her from a room she could face herself, just to stand beside her. Lily looked at the city and smiled. Come on, she said. We have work to do.